So we've got the assembly completed. Without any delay, we'll start making the assembly drawing. For that, open the part, essentially the assembly, then go to design, and then from there, we'll be changing the workspace this time, and we'll be going to drawing. You can see that you can make it from animation or design, but for now, we'll just make it from the design. Okay, let's click on design. Then you see this dialog box, which asks you what do you want to make the drawing for. So we'll be going ahead and clicking on full assembly. We'll be starting a new file. I have provided a template in the resources folder on the learning room, so you can use that. It's called drawing dash template. But for now, I want to show you how to make it from scratch. So I'll be in this video, at least I'll be showing you from scratch. Okay. So there are different standards. We'll be using the ISO, we'll be using the millimeters as dimensions, and the sheet size, I would recommend to use A3. So let's click on OK. One thing to observe is that Fusion opens a new file, an untitled file. So this doesn't actually happen inside the original design that you made, but Fusion opens a new file. Okay. And the very first thing Fusion wants you to do is to put the part wherever you want it. You can put this view if you want, which is the front view, as you can see from here, or we can also change the view. So let's go ahead and use an isometric view for now. So let's see if we can use that one. That looks fine to me. Also, this is very small, right? Because over here, if you see 1:5, which just basically means that we are seeing all the dimensions 1/5 of the original dimension. So let's go ahead and do it 1:2. That makes it a little bit bigger. Looks good. So let's go ahead and click it. Once you've clicked, the position is fixed, and then you can click on OK. Again, you can modify all of the things, so there's no worry that if you've done it once, you can't really change. If you double click on that, that box comes back and you can go ahead and modify the things. So just one thing to notice that there are different kinds of styles as well that you can use. We use the visible edges. You can also try visible with hidden edges, which is, for at least the assembly, is looking very complicated. Then you can just do the shaded one, which is nice if you have some other views as well. And you can do visible and hidden edges with the shaded one. For now, we will use just the normal visible edges. Okay, feel free to explore the other options here as well. Okay, so let's close that. The next thing we need to do is to make a bill of material. And for that, you can very easily click on tables, and from there you can select parts list. Okay, so it basically hovers and sticks a table to your mouse. You can click anywhere, and because we've been saving the files with the correct names, we have also assigned the materials. But right now you see that it's not. Uh, I think it's upside down. For me, parts list should be on the top. So we can fix that. If you double click on the table, you see the parts list dialog box. You can do the table direction is down, which fixes that immediately. If you want to write description, you can, but it's not required. Then you can show the mass of the parts as well, which is optional again, but I would suggest to have the item, quantity, part name, and material. So let's get rid of some of them. So we'll keep the item, we'll keep quantity. We don't necessarily need part number. We'll have the part name, which is exactly what you've saved the file names with. So maybe it's a good idea to change the names without these digits so that it makes more sense. And you can also change where you want like quantity to appear. So you can have the part names first and then the quantity. Okay, so you can close that, and also you can modify it a little bit so that it looks nice, and you can move it around. Very easy to do this. Okay, the next thing you should notice is that it has put these balloons on the part, right? And these are basically showing that this item number, which is 1, is essentially this part, okay? The second one is over here, which is the forkend. We can probably mark it at another place. So either you can drag it around if you want, very easy to do, or you can just delete it. You can go to tables again. You can click on balloon, and maybe it's a good idea to put that balloon over here, okay? Very easy. Pin is, I think, marked. Okay, so 5 is pin. I like to keep them nice and straight. You can keep them at an angle, there's no problem to that, but it just looks better if they are like straight. Okay, and knuckle pin can be at the bottom, there's no real problem. Right, so that is like the assembled view. We'll come to the title block. So this is called the title block, and I'll show you how to make that itself. But essentially, I wanted to focus right now on the bill of material. Very easy to make if you've followed the process that we've been doing, making all the parts separately, assigning the materials in the assembly. You've imported them by right clicking, and if they are linked, you should have no problems in making the bill of material. If this doesn't work, you can always make a custom bill of material in which you can enter all these values yourself, and you can also put balloons and all that. So that should be very easy to do. Okay, one more thing before we go to the title block is we can actually move this around, so that shouldn't be a problem, and we can import more views if we want. Okay, for that, what we will do is we will click on base view, which brings up the initial sticky view that we got when we started a drawing. And we don't necessarily need it for the assembly. We just need enough views that makes it clear that this part is that. Sometimes it is a good idea to have separate views, but I just wanted to show you how to import it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's say make it 1:4. So this is the front view. Okay, and if we are using the third angle of projection, this time let's do with the hidden edges. And if you remember from the previous classes, so if this is the front view, where would the top view be? Take a second and guess. Okay, so in the third angle of projection, the top view is on top. And if you want to make any view from an already existing view in your drawing, for example, this, if I want to make a top view, what I need to do is to click on projected view, and wherever I click next, the correct projected view will be put. So even if I go at an angle, I can have the isometric view as well. Okay. So for now, I'll just hover on to the top. Also make sure that it's aligned properly. Actually, Fusion snaps it itself, so it shouldn't lose the alignment, but you get the idea, right? So you can make the top view just like that, and also the side views. You can put more balloons if something is unclear. For example, the pin is not very clear. So we can have another balloon which shows the pin very clearly. Okay, so feel free to explore this. Without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and I'll show you how to make the title block. So title block is basically another table that shows most of the information about the drawing. We can modify this block, or we can start a new block. I have already given you a template, so if you want to make changes, you can just modify that. But I'll quickly show you how to modify an existing one. So if you right click on the existing title block, click on OK, it takes you into a design workspace where it's as simple as making lines. For example, if you want to, let's say, add more rows, you can just click and add straight lines. If you, let's say, want to import some images, for example, a logo of, let's say, Nottingham Trent University, you can do that. You can change the scale of that, right? And you can make changes as much as you want. You can write text. We can write the scale, yeah? So scale is another thing that we should mention in our drawings, and we have used 1:2 for this case. So you can make changes to this. You can write the title of your drawing and then finish the title block, and the changes that you made should appear over here. Right? Uh, please make sure that you fill all of this information before you actually export the file as a PDF. Okay, so that's the final step. You can save the file, obviously. Remember to save it, right? So I'm going to save it as this, and then you can go ahead and export it as PDF. I already did one before this, so I'll quickly show that to you. Let's see. Yeah. So you see, I've got an isometric view as well, and I've got the three orthographic views. I've used the, which angle of projection is this? Third angle of projection. Hopefully you can remember it very easily now. This title block is already there in the template that has been provided, so feel free to use that. Okay, let's go ahead and make a detailed drawing this time. So for detailed drawing, we need one single part and not the assembly. So when you made individual parts, you can just come over here. So on an individual part, same process. Go to design, click on drawing, from design. This time, let's use the template from instead of from scratch. I'm going to use the template. Click on OK. Just wait for Fusion to load it. Obviously, we can make it bigger. We can, let's say 1:2. We can try 1:2. So this is, even though it says front view over here, I know that this should be the side view. So I'm going to click somewhere over here and press OK. Let's quickly make the projected views very easy. Click on the projected view, click on any existing view, then just click again to place it. Okay. And now I will use this to make the top view. That's my top view there, right? You can also use the text over here to write the name of the views. It is a good idea to mention it in your drawings. Okay, once you've got that, you can actually just copy paste it, write the names of the other views. Okay, one thing to notice is that you don't really need the bill of material for an individual part because it's just one part. So why would you want to make it anyways? But I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so we've got some of the things done. We can actually import a nice orthographic view as well. So let's go ahead, use the shaded one, change it to 1:2. Hopefully it will fit. Let's make this one or maybe another. Okay, yeah. So you can put it anywhere on the drawing. You can also write isometric view under this, which is a good idea. So let's go ahead and fill this title block quickly. This is the fourth end. Let's go ahead and click OK. I think that should be fine. Oops. Okay. The date for this recording is 25th of November, so I'm going to put that. Nope. And you can fill the rest of the things as well in the same manner. Yeah. Do you remember which scale we used? 1:2, right? Okay. Let's do that. You can mention the material as well because every part has its own material. So you can just put that one here. This one is cast iron. I'll put my name here. If you're working in a team and if you're writing it for the assembly, you can write the team group number as well if you want. Start putting the dimensions in. What I want to point out is that make sure that you are using the third angle of projection because the default image over here is for the third angle, but feel free to use the first angle as well if you change this symbol. Okay, so don't use first angle of projection if you are not changing this symbol over here. Okay. Okay, so quickly to show you how to change the angle of projections when making a drawing. So let's say I've got this drawing where I've got a flat front view, the right hand side view has a hole in it, and the top view has the text top written on it so that we can clearly identify it while making the drawings. So I'm going to make a drawing from this. Okay, so use ISO for now. Let's click on OK. Okay, first thing is that we just put the front view anywhere we want.
And let's do it with hidden edges so that we can see everything. So that's our front view. So let's go ahead and make the top view. So we need to first figure out if the drawing is drawing in third angle or the first angle by default. And to do that, we can quickly make the top view. So let's make both the views here. And what we see here is that the top view actually comes at the bottom of the front view, right? And we know that this happens when we are in the first angle of projection. Okay, so this is the top view, this is actually the bottom view. We can also check with the right hand side view. So for the first angle of projection, if I want to see the right hand side view, I will actually have to make it on the left hand side. So that is my right hand side view. Okay, that's why the circle is, I can see the circle as a proper circle and not a dotted line. And my left hand side view, which should be on the right, will have a circle which is as a dotted line. Okay, and also we can just make sure that if we do it without the hidden edges, we can't really see the circle, right? So we've figured out that we are in the first angle projection, but we want to draw in the third angle of projection. And if that's something what you want to do, obviously you would put the correct symbol in your title block, but we also need to make sure that we are drawing in the correct view, because Fusion would not know itself which angle of projection do you want to use. So we've figured out that the first angle of projection is the default angle of projection that Fusion uses, but we can change it. So for that, you will first have to close your drawing, because this setting has to be done before we actually start the drawing. Then you click on your picture over here, you go to preferences, just go to drawing. Okay, so general, drawing, and this is where we need to make the changes. Okay, right now the standard is inherit from design. Let's go ahead and select ISO. Okay, in ISO now, if this setting is unticked, you have to tick it first so that you can actually make changes. So over here you can see that the default angle of projection is first angle. Let's go ahead and change it to third angle, and if you press apply and OK, and now if you make a new drawing, make sure it's ISO over there, we can very quickly see that if the changes have taken place or not. So let's go ahead, make the front view again. Let's try and make the top view again. And voila, this time the top view is on the top, which means we are now in the third angle of projection. We can also make sure that this is the case by making the right hand side view. And if we see the full circle instead of the dash circle, we just know that we are in the third angle of projection.
Another thing that I want to show is the drawing number. Okay, so what is drawing number? For example, if you are making 5 different parts and you're making 5 different uh, orthographic projections or detailed drawings for all of your parts. So let's say open eye end is basically the first drawing. This would be drawing number 2, right? And what you can also do is over here you can mention so this one, which is not very visible right now, I'll zoom it in a second and then you can see. So over here you can see the other one is called sheet, and this basically lets you write how many sheets you've got and which one are you on currently. Okay, so I've got total 5 drawings and this one is the second one. Okay, right, so once we've got the title block sorted, the next thing we need to do is to make sure that we give sufficient dimensions. And let's have a look how to give dimensions. So we will be using the dimensions tab for that. Before that, it's a good idea to put some center markers. For example, it will be a good idea to mark the center point of the circle, let's say. So you can go to geometry, click on center mark and mark that. You can mark the center mark for this one. You can also mark for any of the major curves that you've got in your drawing. Also, you should mention the center lines for holes. So we know that in this part, we've got this as a hole. This is also a hole. And this basically helps in understanding the drawing and also in referring when you're putting the dimensions. Okay, so there are a couple of ways to do the dimensions. For dimensions, there is one command called dimensions, which is sort of automatic, and it decides itself what is the best dimension according to where you click on. So for example, if I click on this circle, Fusion can detect that I would essentially want to put a diameter over here, but it works most of the times, not always. Okay, so that's the reason there are other commands as well. Right, so I'll just show like some more dimensions to you, and then because it's more or less the same, you can do it yourself. So you can mark linear dimensions, select 2 points, mark it. It's always good idea to make it as clean as possible. So if you're marking the dimensions, make them aligned. Okay, right. We know that we need to specify how big this extrusion is. We should specify this end cylinder, right? Okay, let's also give some more dimensions. So for this case, I've used the automatic one, and you see that it's not really working. For cases like these, when Fusion thinks that an angle dimension would be the correct one, you can actually do it manually by using linear dimension. Select the center point, select that point, and then it should allow you to put the dimension as a linear dimension. Okay, so this is not complete. You would need to give more dimensions. For example, you can give radiuses for the radius of curvatures. Okay, we've seen this before because we actually followed a technical drawing for this. So most of the dimensions were there, but this is how those technical drawings are made. Okay, so hopefully you got some idea how to make a drawing. You can also explore the tolerances, and we will discuss about it in the next term. But if you want to go ahead and explore it yourself, feel free to do that. I'll just show that if you spend some time and do it properly, you can make a drawing like this, which has all the three views: top view, front view, side view, also an isometric view, and the fill title block as well.